You clicked on this video because missionary is what you do. It is what you were taught. It is what feels respectful. And she still does not finish. You have been asking a quieter question than you admit. If this is the normal position, why is the female orgasm still missing from the night? You are tired of guessing from movies and from some forum at 2 in the morning. Good news. I am going to give you the actual answer, not opinion, not a dirty list. What the research and my clinical experience actually show. I am a doctor. I am a woman. And I am not going to waste your time with vague reassurance. Let's go. First, let's name the position without romance. Missionary position is the default for a reason. You can see her face, you can kiss her, you feel in control. It looks like how sex is supposed to look. And for a huge number of women, it is also the position where the main engine never gets touched. That is not a moral failure. That is geometry. Here is the brutal truth. Most women do not have a reliable orgasm from thrusting alone. The tissue that usually tips her over sits outside the canal, not at the end of a long stroke. In classic missionary, your pelvis often rides too low. You go in and out. You think depth is the gift. Her clitoris is sitting there like a doorbell nobody pressed. She can like you. She can want you. She can even enjoy the closeness. And she still will not finish. Then she says it was nice. You have heard that word. Nice is not an orgasm. Recently, a man came into my clinic. Let's call him Paul. Paul is 59. He is not a boy from the internet. He has been with the same woman for years. He sat down and said, "Doc, we only really do one position, the normal one. I last long enough. I am not rough. I look at her, and she never gets there with me. Sometimes she finishes later, alone, and I pretend I do not know." He was not asking me for a circus. He was asking me why the most common position on earth was failing a man who thought he was being gentle. I asked Paul to describe the last time, in order, without the movie version. She was on her back, legs somewhat open. He was on his elbows. He moved. He asked if she was close. She said almost. He went faster. She went quiet. He finished. She kissed his shoulder. That word again. Almost. Almost is often code for you are in the building and you are on the wrong floor. I told Paul what I am going to tell you. The missionary position is not the enemy. The unmodified missionary position is the enemy. If you never change the angle, never change the contact, and never keep a hand in the conversation, you are asking her body to orgasm from a motion that does not match how a female orgasm is built. How to make her orgasm is not a mystery novel. It is contact plus safety plus time. Missionary, as most men do it, gives you 2 of those on a good night and skips the one that actually finishes her. Let me give you the anatomy without putting you to sleep. The clitoris is not a tiny button you visit as a courtesy before the main event. It is a structure with external tissue and internal arms. A lot of the nerves that decide whether she tips over live where your pubic bone could be grinding if you set the angle right, and where your hand should be if the angle is wrong. The front wall inside, toward her belly, can add pressure. Depth past that often adds nothing she needs, and sometimes adds the feeling she has to pee, or the feeling you are knocking on her cervix, which is not pleasure for most women. So when you pride yourself on going deep in missionary, you may be optimizing the one vector she does not require. Now let's talk about what is happening psychologically, because this is the part nobody addresses. Missionary puts her on her back, looking up at you. For some women, that is intimacy. For some women, especially after kids, after a long marriage, after feeling inspected, it is a position where she performs a face. She watches you. She manages your feelings. She tries not to look disappointed. A woman who is managing your feelings is not inside her own pelvis. The female orgasm is a nervous system event. If her brain is producing a polite expression, the reflex does not get a vote. Anxiety is contagious here too. If you are hovering, asking, "Are you close?" speeding up because you think speed is what takes her the last inch, her body hears evaluation. Evaluation is cortisol. Cortisol is not how to make her finish. So what actually changes missionary from a nice close call into a position that can work? Listen closely. You do not need 12 exotic shapes. You need to stop treating missionary like a hands-free sport. First change, the pillow. I know it sounds like nothing. It is not nothing. A firm pillow under her hips tilts her pelvis. That tilt does two jobs. It can bring the front wall into better contact, and it can bring her clitoris closer to your body, so the in and out is not the only story. This is not decorating the bed. This is changing the geometry. If the pillow is soft and collapses, you did nothing. Firm. Under the sacrum, not under the lower back, so she is cranked into a yoga pose she cannot hold. Her knees can come up, or her feet can plant, so she is not a straight board. A straight board is how missionary fails. Second change. Ride higher. This is the piece most men never learn, and I want you to stay for it, because it is not a new position with a porn name. You do not lie in the valley between her legs and piston. You shift your body up toward her head, so your pelvis sits higher on hers. Less of a dive, more of a grind. The motion becomes shorter. Your pubic bone can actually meet the tissue that needs it. If you have only ever gone deeper when you wanted to be better, this will feel backwards. Good. Backwards is often the correction. Sex is not a speed sport. It is the art of state management. Short grind, steady pressure, not a jackhammer. Third change. A hand stays, even in missionary, especially in missionary. If your angle still does not give her clitoral contact, you do not hope harder. You put a hand between you, or you put her hand there and cover it with yours so she does not feel rude for needing it. I have told you this in other videos. I will keep telling you until it is in your muscle memory. If you are inside her and your hands retire, you just turned off the main engine and kept the decorative one. A lot of women orgasm from that outside contact during penetration, not from thrusting as the star of the show. Missionary makes men forget they have hands because both arms are busy holding them up. Then put a forearm down, or shift to your knees. Or let her hold you so one of your hands is free. The position should serve the contact, not the postcard. Fourth change. Stop asking her to finish from a dead stop on her back if her body does not vote for that. Some women will never make missionary their best position for female orgasm, and that is allowed. Your job is not to win an argument for the classic pose. Your job is a night where she actually finishes. Now, practical advice, because I know that is what you came for. If missionary is the only chapter you have, I want you to add 2 more that still look like real life, not like a production. Woman on top. Yes, cowgirl position, without the costume. This is often the best position for female orgasm in the sense that she can put the right spot on the right pressure and keep it there. You are not being replaced. You are being used correctly. She can grind instead of bounce. Bouncing is a show. Grinding is how a lot of clitorises actually get what they need. Your job underneath is not to thrust her off the map. Stay. Hands on her hips only if she wants help. Hands on her breasts or her lower back if that keeps her in her body. If she leans forward, she is often chasing contact. Do not yank her back up so you can see a movie. Let her chase it. The edge of the bed. She on her back, hips at the edge, you standing or kneeling. This looks like missionary's cousin, and the angle is simply better for many couples. You get your hands. You get your mouth if you want it before. You can keep a thumb where it belongs while you are inside. If your knees and hips are not what they were at 25, this is also kinder on your joints than a long hover on your elbows. I am talking to men over 50. Biology is not irrelevant. A position you cannot hold for 8 minutes is not a generous position. It is a countdown to you collapsing and the night ending. Side-lying, facing each other or her back to your chest, only works if a hand is free. Spooning without a hand is just warm thrusting from behind with even less clitoral contact than bad missionary. So if you go there, the front hand works the outside. Slow. Lubricant. You already know dry rubbing is how you make her sore and polite. Paul said he was afraid that if he suggested a pillow or asked her to be on top, she would think he had been watching something. I told him to say it like a doctor, not like a conspirator. One calm line. I want this to work for you. I want your hips higher. I want you where you can actually get there. A woman who has been saying almost for years is not offended by competence. She is exhausted by guesswork. Watch this to the last word, because the late piece is not a fifth pose. It is what you do when missionary finally starts working and you ruin it. Here it is, the stay. When her breath changes, when her hips start to chase, when the muscles tighten, you do not speed up, you do not switch to a deeper stroke, and you do not announce that she is close. You keep the exact angle that got her there. Same pillow, same height of your body, same grind or same hand. Maybe 10% firmer, not twice as fast. If you get excited and return to the old in and out because that is what your pelvis wants, you just took the doorbell off the door. Imagine being 1 second from your own orgasm and having someone change the channel. That is what you do to her when missionary finally lines up, and you celebrate by going back to what you did at 22. If she says, wait, or I feel like I have to pee, or that is too much, do not panic and rip away. Ease a fraction. Do not abandon the contact. That full bladder feeling on the front wall is sometimes the neighborhood of a different kind of finish, and sometimes it is just pressure she does not want. You watch her face. You listen. You do not debate her body. And if she does not finish in missionary, even with the pillow and the higher ride, you do not take that as a verdict on the night or on you. You change the chapter without a eulogy. You put her on top. Or you keep your mouth and your hand in the game until she is actually there. And then missionary can be closeness after, or not at all. How to make her finish is not loyalty to one pose. How to please a woman in bed is loyalty to the contact that works. Let me talk to the men who already last a long time in missionary and still came here. You can go and go. You think duration is the gift. Hear me. Long, unmodified missionary is often just a dull instrument used for a long time. If the clitoris is not in the conversation, you are being durable on the wrong street. Lasting longer only helps if the minutes contain the right stimulation. If they do not, she is waiting for you to be done so the night can end kindly. And let me talk to the men who finish fast in missionary. The tightness, the visual, the feeling of being wanted, it all stacks. Then you panic and thrust to get it over with, or you freeze. Neither helps her. Use what I already taught you about the switch. When you get close, less slide for you, more of the right stimulation for her, stay in contact. If missionary is too intense for your own reflex, that is data. Slow the first minute. Pillow. Higher ride, which is often less of a tight grip than a deep dive. Or start with her on top so she is not a visual sprint and a tight sprint at the same time. The clock is not the whole problem. The geometry is part of the problem. Back to Paul. I did not send him home with a list of circus acts. I sent him home with a sequence. Pillow under her hips. He rides higher. A hand stays if the grind is not enough. When her breathing changes, he is not allowed to go back to long strokes. If she still does not get there, she on top, grind, not bounce, no yanking her upright for the view. 2 weeks later, he said the first night she laughed at the pillow, and then she did not laugh. And then she said, do not you dare move. And he said that was the first time in years he had received an instruction that was not almost. That is not poetry. That is what happens when the angle finally matches the anatomy. Tonight, before anyone is naked enough to default to the old pattern, decide missionary is allowed only in its modified form. Firm pillow, hips tilted, you higher on her body, short grind, or a hand. You are not permitted to treat the first version you learned at 17 as the adult version. If she has a knee that does not like being folded, you adjust. If your back does not like hovering, you use the edge of the bed. Biology is not a negotiation. Work with the bodies you have. Here's the sequence so it is in your pelvis, not just in your pride. Do not start inside. Warm her. Neck, belly, inner thighs, lubricant, outside first. You already have that map. When you do go to missionary, the pillow is already there. You go in slow. You shift up. You find whether your body is actually meeting the tissue that needs it. If it is not, a hand goes there without a speech. You breathe. You do not ask if she is close. You watch. When she chases, you stay. If she does not chase, you change chapter. Her on top, or the edge of the bed, or your mouth. You do not solve a geometry problem with apology. After, you do not say, sorry, missionary is all I know. You say, I want the version that works for you. Then you shut up and keep contact while she comes back to the room. That is why she cannot finish in missionary as you have been doing it. Not because she is broken, not because you are not enough. Because the default pose skips the part of her that is built to finish, and you have been trying to make depth and duration do a job they cannot do. If this helped you see it differently, share it with a man who is still thrusting on a flat bed and waiting for a miracle. Go down to the comments and tell me the honest one. Do you actually change the angle, or is missionary just the one you start and the one you finish? I read them. Apply this tonight. Do not turn it into a seminar she has to grade. Stay confident. I will see you in the next one, when we talk about how to touch her so she asks for more. Because a better position still fails if your hands move like you are fixing a truck.